Okay, guys, here we're going to show all the raw ingredients for the bone broth. First step is roast your beef bones. I did 375 for 30 minutes. Here's the soup bones going in on the bottom rack, and here's my beautiful oxtail beef bones on the top. 30 minutes later, look at the beautiful color on these bones. That's exactly what we're looking for. They smell great, guys. We'll move them over here. And you see all that drippings, all that fat that fell to the cast iron. We're going to scrape that all. We're going to come back for all that. We're not going to leave that flavor behind. Everything then is going to go right into the crock pot. Beef on the bottom, then all your rough chopped vegetables. I had celery, carrots, onion, red bell pepper, and a whole head of garlic. And we cover the whole thing with water, and we start to add our seasonings, get everything patted down there, covered up. I've got going in here with a tablespoon of a high quality salt, guys. We don't need too much salt because this is all going to concentrate down, and you can always add salt later when you go to serve this broth. Next, I've got some apple cider vinegar, about 1/4 of a cup. We need that acid to help break down the beef and the bones to get all those nutrients out. Here we go in with some whole coriander, some whole black peppercorns, a little bit of cayenne pepper. And finally, we're going in with 2 bay leaves right on top. These are actually homegrown from a buddy of mine down here. And then lastly, you're going to see I got some nice fresh parsley. That's going to go in towards the end. Now, here's what it looks like after about 3 hours on low. The entire house smells amazing right now, guys. At this point, I've raised the temp from low to high. Probably going to leave it on high for about 4 hours. Just bring the temperature of that liquid up, help break those beef bones down, and we'll see what happens in a few. So I left it on high for 6 hours. I needed to see these bubbles like this, not quite a boil, but just a simmer. Here's what it looked like after that 6 hours. This is where I gave it a quick stir, set it to low, and went to bed. And this ended up being on, guys, for a full 24 hours. Here we go, 24 hours later, after it had been sitting on low overnight. Look at the colors of those vegetables, the bubbles going even on low. And now's the point in which you add your fresh herbs. I went with parsley like we saw earlier. You could use thyme, you could use sage, you could use a mixture. I went with nice fresh parsley. So you drop it in with about the last 10 to 20 minutes of cooking. I did about 20 minutes here, the last 20 on low. Gave it a quick stir, cover it back up. Here we go. 24 hours plus the last 20 minutes. This was incredible, guys. The whole house smelled quite amazing. All right, and now's the time where we strain, guys. So obviously you see I'm using a measuring cup to strain over a strainer, which is placed over a colander into a clean pot. I'm going to end up separating all the vegetables in one bowl and all the meat and bones in another bowl, eventually discarding the bones. I held on to all my cooked veggies, stuck them in the freezer. They can be blended up later for another kind of a soup or another kind of a dish. And I also froze a little bit more than half of the meat and kept some out in the fridge for me to eat. Here's the final bone broth product, guys. Look at the nice dark color. I did not strain any of the fat once this cooled down. I left it full fat. Once I went to reheat it, the fat melted right back in. That's exactly what you're looking for. That's why you're making this broth, is for those nutrients and that high fat content for your body. I ended up using this broth to break a 7-day fast heading into Thanksgiving.